Well, we had Emirates NBA Cup action tonight, and that meant that a large portion of the league was in action. The Denver Nuggets were in action against the Golden State Warriors, the Steph-less Golden State Warriors, albeit, but they were in Denver, and the Nuggets were trying to avenge their heinous loss to the Dubs on opening night. And in this one, well, the Nuggets drubbed the Dubs, an absolute massacre. And human video game Nikola Jokic, unfortunately for him, came up 1 assist and 1 rebound shy of a triple-double tonight. It was the third time in their 8 games now that he has not reached the triple-double by the end of the game. In the first game, he came up 3 rebounds shy. He was 1 assist shy in another game. And tonight, again, 1 rebound, 1 assist shy of the triple-double. But he only played 3 quarters. That's right. He did not play a single second of the fourth quarter in this game, still with 26 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. He only had 1 turnover, and he shot 12 of 15 from the field. How's 80% from the field grab you in this one for Nikola Jokic? Again, an absolute machine at this point. It just is mind-boggling to wrap your head around the fact that this guy is still getting better. Last year was his best season yet, a season which culminated what, in my estimation, should have been 5 consecutive league MVPs, a season in which he averaged a 30-point triple-double, became the first human being in recorded basketball history to finish top 3 in points, rebounds, and assists. Oh, by the way, he was second league-wide in steals a season ago as well. So it's hard to believe that this guy who had already won 3 league MVPs in a 4-year span going into last season could conceivably get even better last year, and yet he got markedly better. He had, in my estimation, his best season yet, and it's impossible to imagine that he will improve on that season in some way. But to this point, now nearly 3 weeks into this season, that is precisely what we are seeing. Nikola Jokic is actually better now than he was last year. Of course, the point totals aren't as gaudy. He's averaging around 25 per night right now, but he is firmly leading the league in assists by over 2 assists per game. He's averaging like 13 rebounds a night, 12 assists, and he's shooting 70% true shooting percentage right now. His box plus minus is cartoonish. 17 on the BPM scale. 17? Basically, let me just break this down for you. If you have a double-digit BPM for all of NBA history, essentially at least one of 2 things would be true. One, you are the only player in the league that season to be in double digits, and 2, more than likely, you won the league MVP. Nikola Jokic, though, at this point, is sitting at a 10.35 career BPM average. That is over a full point above Michael Jordan, who is number 2 all-time in that metric. He's been around 13 the last 5 years. Those 5 years, by the way, constitute 5 of the top 6 single-season BPM years in league history. And yet now he's sitting going into tonight's game at 17. It is absolutely outrageous what Jokic is doing.
That's outrageous.
By far and away the MVP. I just don't see how they continue to find ways to not give it to this guy. To me, the single most important metric in gauging an individual player's value, I talk about it on this platform often, is the on-off numbers. That would be the amount of points that you contribute to your team while you are on the court versus the amount of points your team loses or gains when you are off the court. It measures every single second, tracks and measures every single second a player is on or off the court for an entire season, and it evaluates both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Nikola Jokic, for virtually the last 5 seasons, hell, really his entire career, has been just, again, a cheat code, a video game, whatever superlatives you want to use. He is the greatest floor riser in NBA history. He is the best career, like all-time great in terms of the on-off measurables, especially in his peak. And many had speculated that this year was the year that metric, at least as it pertains to Nikola Jokic, was going to be exposed because, well, the Nuggets bench has been reprehensible the last several seasons, while they have had ostensibly no backup center at all for Nikola Jokic. He was practically the only guy on the team that could play center. They had DeAndre Jordan, who lost a ton in terms of that on-off measurement. They just got overwhelmed when Nikola Jokic went to the bench. But this is the year, according to several coming in, that metric was going to be exposed. We were going to see how overrated that metric was, and utilizing that metric was in order to talk up Nikola Jokic's MVP candidacy the last couple years, because they got Jonas Valanciunas in the offseason, a viable real-life NBA center to back up Nikola Jokic, and, they puffed up that bench in the offseason with all of the savings that they got from shipping Michael Porter Jr. out in place of Cam Johnson. They bring in not only Valanciunas for the bench, but they brought back Bruce Brown. They got Tim Hardaway Jr. The bench looks far better this year than it has in the last several years. So all of those things factored together was going to mean that Nikola Jokic would be less impactful in these on-off numbers. Well, that's not even been remotely the case to this stage of this season. He's actually better in that as well. A guy who dominated Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last year in that metric, who dominated Giannis, Luka, any other guy you wanted to throw out last season. Jokic dominated it last season. He added about 18 points per game on average for the on-off. Again, if you're new to this platform, or if you're not tired of listening to me talk about it yet at this point, let me just explain it briefly again. The on-off measures your impact in terms of points added for your team, or that your team loses when you're off, and it's on offense and defense. This year, right now, Nikola Jokic is adding almost 29 points per game when he is on the court, meaning the Nuggets are 29 points worse when Nikola Jokic is off of the court. The big difference this season versus last, and the season before that, is that the team is better overall around Nikola Jokic. The bench is substantially better, so they're losing less points when Nikola Jokic goes to the bench. So he's adding 30 when he's on the floor, but they're losing less when he goes off of it. Again, add all of that up, and the Nuggets are running neck and neck with the Oklahoma City Thunder right now for best net differential in terms of, how many points they are winning their games by, factored in with all of the games they play, both wins and losses. Now that's significant because the Oklahoma City Thunder destroyed the field in that metric a season ago, not just last season. They set the all-time NBA record for net differential a year ago, the all-time record for SRS. The Nuggets right now neck and neck with the Thunder for the best net differential, and they're actually a higher rated SRS team right now than are the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now look, the Thunder have not been healthy. Guys are missing games left and right. Jalen Williams still hasn't even played a game yet this season. So the Thunder are going to improve, but so too are the Denver Nuggets, because they are integrating all of these new pieces that I just mentioned. And something that not a lot of people want to talk about or factor into this for consideration of how the Nuggets are going to be improving throughout the course of this season is that they've really only had 30-some games to gel under Adelman, his stewardship now as the head coach, because keep in mind, Michael Malone was ousted last year in the regular season with only 4 games remaining. And then the Nuggets played in only 2 series in the playoffs, albeit both 7-gamers. So that's 14 games during the playoffs, 4 to end the season, only 18 games. And now they're 8 games into this season. So the Nuggets are still learning right now, learning how to play with this new look lineup, how to integrate these new pieces, what kind of rotations they want to use, and how they're supposed to be playing under Adelman, which is to say, much better on the defensive side of the ball. That much is glaringly obvious. And speaking of the on-offs and Nikola Jokic and all of that, well, the commentary on the putrid Nuggets defense the last couple years was simply that Nikola Jokic stunk, and that's why the Denver Nuggets defense stunk. Well, how about the fact that Nikola Jokic right now is adding 11 points per game defensively, or I guess I should say that the Nuggets are giving up 11 points fewer per game on average for 100 possessions with Nikola Jokic on the floor. It's no wonder they're better with him offensively. You know, they're adding about 18 per night per 100 possessions with him on the floor offensively, but he is making them markedly and substantially better on defense. And I'm just so utterly confused by this because they are now this season the 5th rated net defense, up from the 21st rated net defense last year. They were the worst defense to qualify for the postseason last season, 21st league-wide, and now they're up to 5th best this year. And Nikola Jokic is on the roster both of those years, so I'm confused how he was the one to blame, and yet they've gotten this much better this season. Nikola Jokic wasn't the problem defensively. He never has been. Adelman has changed the dynamic there, I think, on that side of the ball. And look, some of these new pieces are obviously contributing there as well. So the Denver Nuggets playing, dare I say, elite defense currently, and that's to supplement their number 1 ranked net offense. So this is a very terrifying prospect for the rest of the NBA at this point. You've got the best offense in the NBA. They were a year ago, I believe, the second or third rated net offense. And with Nikola Jokic on the floor, they were the best rated offense. But their defense, again, terrible last year, elite this season. And they have a bench. The Denver Nuggets are looking like every bit the contenders that they were speculated to be going into the season. Whether it will be enough ultimately to defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder will yet to be seen. The Houston Rockets obviously are going to be looming there as well. They're a very high, actually they are the number 1 net rated SRS team coming into tonight, where the Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, were number 2 to the Houston Rockets. And SRS, of course, evaluates not only the wins that you have, the differential that you're winning by, but also measures the opposition that you're facing and how strong they are. So that's a very telling metric. SRS, generally, it is an indicator for league champion and for playoff success. Again, last year, the Oklahoma City Thunder set the all-time record for simple rating system, eclipsing the 1996 famed 72-win Chicago Bulls for that all-time metric crown. And now this year, the Denver Nuggets are sneaking up on Houston to overtake them. And we have a bit of a log jam at the top right now in the Western Conference. The Thunder, speaking of them, are, one loss, one bad loss really, and that's it. But again, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. They still hold the top spot out west. But now, with a couple of interesting outcomes tonight, San Antonio Spurs rebound from a pretty disappointing loss to the Lakers with only Luka Doncic. They get back, beat the Houston Rockets, who were actually favored on the road tonight in San Antonio. Good win for the Spurs. And when you factor the Spurs winning, Houston losing, the Lakers were idle, we basically have a 3-way tie in the loss column for the 2 spot right now between these aforementioned Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs and LA Lakers. And they're all just 1 game behind Oklahoma City for the top spot in the West. So I don't think there's really any conversation to be had right now. Nikola Jokic should have won the last 5 consecutive MVPs, and I think he is by far and away the MVP right now at this point of the NBA season. He is still by far the best player in the NBA, but I would be remiss to not at least mention the other alien and mutant out there in the Eastern Conference, a guy who I've been touting for the last 5 or 6 years, along with Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And inevitably, if Nikola Jokic has been the best player on the planet for now 6 years running, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo who has been number 2, who remains number 2. And I think it's those two guys and everybody else. And you can argue the discussion for the third spot is compelling. You can talk about a number of players there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, many would have him there off of the season that he had last year. Some might have Luka Doncic with the season that he's posting right now, averaging 40 points per game. And then there's the ascendant youngster who is still only 21. He's in his age 22 season, but he is still, at this point, only 21 years old. Victor Wembanyama, people might have him in discussions for that third spot. Look, those guys, barring any kind of an injury, are going to be the first team selections for All-NBA first team. So, you can argue about those 3, 4, and 5 spots and what their precise ordering might be. But to me, it ain't close. Number 1 is Nikola Jokic. Beneath him is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then it's everybody else. And while Nikola Jokic has overtaken the entire NBA for all these advanced crowns, most of them, again, he's got that cartoonish 17 BPM right now. He is leading in value over replacement, and he has taken over the top spot in the win shares per 48 metric. He's second, actually, in that regard to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in just win shares, but SGA's played in one extra game right now. In win shares per 48, it's Jokic leading in that too. But when you look at player efficiency rating, which Jokic has also led for the last 5 seasons coming into this one, it is Giannis Antetokounmpo who has the lead in that. And just as preposterous and absurd as Nikola Jokic's 17 BPM is, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo posting an equally ridiculous PER, 39 coming into tonight. 39 on the PER scale for Giannis. And to put that in context, the all-time NBA record is held by Nikola Jokic of 32.85, which he set back in 2022. So nearly a 33. And Giannis right now is sitting 6 points above that. Insane how good he has been as well this season. And he did nothing to diminish those numbers in his performance tonight. He grabbed one hell of a win for his Milwaukee Bucks in this Emirates Cup play-in thingy, playoff, whatever the hell this stupid thing, this abomination of an idea by Adam Silver, one of the many is. He got a great win tonight, the Milwaukee Bucks did, in playing the Chicago Bulls and in defeating the Chicago Bulls. And I don't think many people would have thought that the Milwaukee Bucks, who had a very puzzling offseason, to say the least, would be in the 2. They're essentially tied in the loss column for the 2 seed right now. And speaking of the Eastern Conference standings, though, I'll tell you what, I've got a trivia question here for you. And I'm going to ask, and why don't you go ahead and pause the video and see if you could come up with the answer. At this point on, I guess technically we're over midnight now, so it's November 8th, Saturday, November 8th, in the Lord's year of 2025. Who do you think is the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference? Go ahead, pause the video for a couple seconds and see if you can come up with an answer. How about the Detroit Pistons? And if you guessed the Pistons, give yourself a gold star, because I don't think anybody had Detroit on the old bingo card as the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference 3 weeks roughly in to the start of this NBA season. We talked coming in about how wide open the Eastern Conference landscape was going to be. But again, I don't think anyone would have speculated that the Pistons were going to be in the mix there. So there has been, a lot of surprises, some intrigue in this early NBA season to this stage. But one thing that is just as boring as ever is Nikola Jokic, whose dominance is, at this point, almost boring. It's methodical. It's machine-like. And look, I don't know that he will win the MVP this season. He should, again, in my estimation, have 5 already. And I think that the reason he doesn't, and potentially the reason that he's not going to win this season, is because the mainstream writers and media that vote on this thing are just nervous. They're unwilling to put him in certain all-time conversations. I think that they're reluctant to include him in some of these conversations with all of these other all-time greats that a fourth MVP would kind of put him in the room with. So I'm not certain that he will win the league MVP, just like he didn't last year, but just like he was the rightful MVP last year, so too, barring any unforeseen injuries to either him or someone on his team, Nikola Jokic is the declarative MVP for this season, at least. He has been overwhelmingly that to this stage of this young season.